Part 6. I'm more like I'm gonna cry. Separation. So, today's the day, huh? Hopefully said. How do you feel, Rosamine? Fine. I wouldn't have let a little poor health stop me anyway. Now when I've got the important duty of carrying Ferdinand's luggage, I replied. We're going to be seeing him off alongside our retainers, the Archducal couple, and the Knight's Order. Charlotte and Melchior were staying at home with Bonifacius. 2 wagons carrying luggage had arrived from Ferdinand's estate. He had also brought gifts chosen by Ovara and Riarda from the castle storage room. You may begin moving everything into my high beast, I said, prompting the servants to begin putting what was about 3 wagons worth of luggage into my enlarged high beast. Enlarged panda bus. Those from Ahrensbach had already been told how much Ferdinand was bringing with him and were due to welcome us with 3 or more wagons of their own. Good. I gave Eckert and Justice the charms I had put my all into making. You two are going to be in a dangerous position protecting Ferdinand, so please keep these with you, I said. I am honored, milady, Justice replied. Eckert, protect Ferdinand no matter what happens. You have my word. It seemed that not even their promises could rid me of my worries, but Angelica gave me a comforting pat on the back. Don't worry, Lady Rosamine. Lord Eckert is very strong. He will protect Lord Ferdinand no matter what, she declared, her blue eyes betraying her unwavering faith. I believe in his strength and loyalty. Eckert returned a soft smile. I know your passion for growing stronger and your loyalty to Lady Rosamine are the real thing, too. Protect her no matter what. Lord Ferdinand will be beside himself should anything happen to her. Yeah, he would. He would be worried. Understood. Angelica extended a closed fist, which Eckert bumped with his own. Ah, buddies! Comrades! Oh! It was a gesture that soldiers used to wish each other fortune in battle. I desperately wanted to join in, so I balled up a fist and reached out to them. Me too, Eckert, I exclaimed. I'm going to work hard in Ehrenfest too. Yeah, he replied. I'd really appreciate it if you could send Lord Ferdinand some more food every now and again. Despite my outstretched fist, Eckert mussed my hair and nothing more. Aw, she wanted to do it too. She wanted to fist bump too. It wasn't fair. I wanted to share in their battle ritual too. What are you even doing, Ferdinand asked. Ferdinand, Eckert and Angelica are praying for each other's success in battle, but they won't include me, I sobbed, bemoaning the fist bump they had denied me. Eckert frowned, but you're not serving a lord or lady whom you need to protect. The ritual you're talking about is done between knights who put their pride on the line. It's not something for an Archduke candidate to be doing. She is kind of trying to protect everything. She's trying to keep Ehrenfest from getting attacked and stuff. Good God, dude. She's trying to protect it in her own way. Apparently, the gesture wasn't the same among knights as it was among soldiers. Still, the rejection stung all the same. I pursed my lips, which made Ferdinand pull an exasperated face. Let's make a vow instead. A vow? I repeated, feeling my body tense up at once. He was probably intending to make some unreasonable demand of me. I don't think he is. I don't know. We'll see. Ferdinand crouched down and gazed into my eyes. I was taken aback by the sudden movement, but he paid this no mind as he said, I am going to Ahrensbach, wherefrom I shall protect Ehrenfest. Therefore, Rosamine, I want you to stay here to defend our duchy as its saint. Promise me you will not fall for the honeyed words of the sovereignty or the other duchies should they come for you. Promise me that your attention will not stray, that you will do everything in your power to protect Ehrenfest. I swallowed at the surprising intensity of his words. Everyone was watching us in complete silence, and the weight of their gazes was pressing down on me. Ferdinand merely offered a slight smile in response, not seeming to care about the oppressive atmosphere. That said, he continued, I am aware that no verbal promise will stop you from leaping into a trap the moment books or libraries are used as bait. Instead, one must act thoughtfully. I can already imagine you forgetting everything as you scramble for your prize. Once again, he had such a precise read on me. This guy knows her better than anybody knows. Better than her own lower city family probably knows. Heck, probably better than her own mother from Japan knows. I could only respond with a quiet grunt. Ferdinand lowered his light golden eyes, then sighed and removed a key from one of the pouches on his waist. It was metal with a yellow face stone. I intend to bind you to Ehrenfest with this, he said as he dangled it right in front of me. A key? I asked, following it with my eyes. I didn't know what it was for. Based on his small speech, I could guess that it led to something that would stop me from being baited. Ferdinand took my hand and pressed the key to my palm, urging me to take it. It was heavier than I had expected. This is the key to my estate, he explained. My workshop, ingredients, books, documents, and magic tools, as well as my estate and all those who work there. I entrust all that I am leaving behind to you. Wow, everything! Dude! Do you really want to do that? The Bookworm I can understand. I can understand that part. But I guess it makes sense considering you can't just entrust just the Bookworm to her. You'd have to entrust the whole entire estate to her. My eyes widened in shock, but again, Ferdinand didn't so much as falter. He continued speaking in a quiet, deep voice, his serious eyes never once leaving mine. Each word seemed to reach my ears and penetrate my mind, lingering in my thoughts. You told me once, a long time ago, that you wanted a library in return for your mana. Do you remember that? I do, I replied. It was when you wanted to research fey plants. At the time, we had discussed the fact that it would be much more than 10 years before Ehrenfest would have mana in excess. Ferdinand had said that he wanted to use my mana for experiments since he thought that it would be used to grow unique material. Yeah, that was when he kind of showed her the mad scientist side of himself, and that kind of freaked her out. And as I recalled, I had demanded a library for the trouble. Indeed, Ferdinand said, I will give you my estate to serve as a library. And in return, I want you to use the mana that you would have given me to instead protect Ehrenfest. This duchy is my Geduld. I wish for you to ensure its safety. Ferdinand rested one of his large hands on my hand that was holding the key and said, Andern, whatever. Every time I say a new word, I think I'm mispronouncing it. It's annoying. No sooner had the word passed his lips than my mana was sucked into the key, registering me as its new owner. He then slowly pulled away, and a sudden chill ran through me. The very thought of carrying on without him there to protect me shook me to my core. Well, girl, you should have been thinking about this the whole entire time that you found out about the whole marriage thing. Because I'm assuming this has been going through your head the entire time, and it's just now you're just now, I guess, it's just now caught up to you, essentially, because he's now having to leave. I imagine you will not fall victim to the enticing words of others if you have your own library to protect, no? Ferdinand said as he stood up. There was a smirk on his lips, but a certain intensity to his eyes as he watched me. As always, I found it frustrating that even those closest to me had so little faith in my self-control. Can you blame them, though, girl? Considering your track record. Your track record kind of speaks for itself on this one. Then again, she probably has more than just that library in Ehrenfest to protect. Not just the library. I have my family in the lower city. Lutz and Benno, Fran, Gil, and the others in the temple, and everyone from the plant paper and printing workshops. I even considered it my duty as nurse to candidate to protect Ehrenfest. I would safeguard this duchy even if you hadn't given me anything in return, I said. Rosemond, I wish for you to act without fail. Half measures will not be enough. Consider this a forward payment to that end. Or, what, do you intend to say that the library in my estate is not enough for you? If you'd rather not have it, then I will simply take it back. That's obviously not what I'm trying to say. I'd never give up so many books, I exclaimed, clutching the key to my chest. I was on the verge of crying and pleading with him not to leave. Girl, I know you don't want him to leave. None of them want him to leave. They all want him to stay. None of them saw this coming. Not even Ferdinand saw this coming, I think. I can only imagine how relieving it would be to shout, I don't care about some king's decree. Unfortunately, such displays of emotion weren't appropriate for the kind of archducal daughter that Ferdinand wanted me to be. I fought back the tears to some success, but even then, I couldn't stop the feelings that were swirling around inside of me. I was angry about the unreasonable decree, frustrated about once again not being trusted, overjoyed that Ferdinand had remembered that tiny promise we had made so long ago, and sad that he was leaving us, and excited to be getting my own library. All these conflicted feelings inside my mana, it made my mana surge through my body, threatening to overflow at any moment. If crying in front of people isn't allowed, then I'll just have to turn the tears into mana instead. Lady Rosemond, your eyes are turning into rainbows. My retainers let out panicked cries while Ferdinand extended a hand to me and said, Rosemond, contain yourself. No. Okay, here we go. I formed my staff and chanted Stylo, turning it into a pen. Then I used my overflowing mana to draw a glowing magic circle in the air. Rosemond, what are you doing? Expressing my thanks for the library, I replied, then returned my focus to the circle. May Ferdinand be blessed as he leaves Ehrenfest. It kind of rhymed a little bit. A little bit. This wasn't like the prayer I had given when unleashing all of my feelings for my family. Now that I was the High Bishop, I was able to give proper blessings. My time at the World Academy meant that I now had a staff to control my mana. Hold on. Let me just make sure. I didn't accidentally turn it off. I don't want to have to re-record this. I had learned about magic circles. My mentor had provided me with everything. In return... The fuck? Did I just hear something? I'm very confused. I thought I heard something. And in return, I would give him the most powerful blessing that one person could give another. What is this? Ferdinand asked. A magic circle of all elements? It's a magic circle from the last page of the Bible, I replied with a grin. Oh, one that only high bishops get to see. Wow. This wasn't the kind of complicated, bizarre magic circle taught in the Royal Academy for people to use for their own benefit. Nor was it the magic circle that appeared on the first page for those trying to become king. This particular magic circle existed only so that those who had become high bishops could pray to all the gods at once. Praying not for the sake of praying. Or praying just for the sake of praying. It couldn't be used for oneself, only for another. And so I drew the magic circle as I remembered it. Almighty King and Queen of the endless skies. As I started to intone the prayer, the magic circle dazzled with golden light and a dark ring appeared around the outer rim. I could hear those around me stirring in surprise, but I ignored them and continued to speak. O mighty eternal five who rule the mortal realm, O goddess of water flew train, O god of fire laden shaft, O goddess of wind shoots Zarya, O goddess of earth Geduld, O god of life Everglade. Mana flowed from my staff with each divine name, and the sigil representing each god started to shine its respective color as they were called. Please hear my prayer and graciously lend your blessings. I offer you my power and devote to you my service and gratitude. May your divine protection be granted to those departing. The power of water that washes away corruption, of fire that cannot be extinguished, of wind that wards against danger, of earth that embraces all, and of life that never relents. May they have them one and all. The magic circle began to float up with the light of the blessings falling upon Ferdinand, Eckert, and Justice. The divine colors were all mixing together to form a rainbow, and Ferdinand stared up at the magic circle in a daze as they rained down upon him. I puffed out my chest as best I could and smiled at him. I'm growing too, you know. I'm not going to stay the same person forever. Hopefully this would repay him for all that he had done for me. Hopefully he would acknowledge that I really had grown. Hang on, guys. Dang it, my hair is getting in the way too. Good lord, I need to get a haircut. I need to lose weight. Need to quit being a crybaby. Okay, hopefully he would go to Ahrensbach feeling a little more safe, even if only a little. As I watched Ferdinand closely, he looked down at me and gave a slight smile with his eyes closed. I entrust Ehrenfest to you, he said. Protect it in my place. I will. We made our way to the border gate. The escorts from Ahrensbach had already arrived, and we said the usual greetings while they were given the luggage. Ferdinand exchanged farewells with Sylvester, then flourished his Ehrenfest cape and started toward the other side of the gate. It had been bitterly cold on the day that Ferdinand entrusted our duchy to me. I had seen him off with the best smile that I could muster. Girl, you got better strength than I do when it comes to that. And I praised my strength for having held back my tears until I reached my hidden room, and then you're going to cry your eyes out. Don't blame her. Do not blame her at all. And the apple. Oh my gosh, this is the last volume. There's going to be a ton of side stories. I might have to make a video partly for the side stories. Jesus. Okay. This is, I guess, when they left. Welcome, Ob Ehrenfest, Lord Ferdinand, said one of the guard gates, looking relieved to see the arrival of the Ehrenfest party. The Arnsbach Archduke has already arrived and is waiting inside. Karsten and several guards entered the border gate first. Sorry. Then Sylvester and Florencia followed with their retainers. Ferdinand similarly entered with his guard knight for Eckert, leaving behind Justice, who would instead be directing the luggage exchange. Ferdinand glanced over his shoulder and saw Rosamund leaning out the window of her high beast. Justice, where should I put my high beast to make the moving easier, she asked. Right here would be ideal, my lady. Rosamund, you fool, do not speak in such a loud voice. Those visiting from Arensbach will think of you as discourteous. Oh my god, dude, calm down! How is she supposed to be, how does she think he's gonna hear her if she's not talking a little louder, especially with how windy it could possibly be out there? Hello? Despite his misgivings, Ferdinand could only sigh. He was too much the center of attention to chastise her. The saintly demeanor she had adopted while giving him a blessing of all the elements before his departure had vanished entirely. Perhaps the melancholic beauty he had witnessed had been but a figment of his imagination, he thought. A consequence of the sentimentality he was feeling now that he was leaving Ehrenfest, it certainly had not been due to anything of Rosamund's doing. Really? Okay, that's interesting. Though I would still like to research that beautiful magic circle, never before had I seen such a thing. And you probably never will. You might never see that one again. She has used a magic circle that was neither wasteful nor inefficient despite using all the elements at once. An enchanting sight to say the least. Ferdinand started drawing the circle in the air with a finger, having burned its every detail into his mind, but then shook his head to disperse the thought. He would not have the time nor leeway to research those things when he was gone, where he was going. Henceforth, he would be overseeing Detlinde and Letzia while facing off Arensbach and Georgine. Good luck with that, dude. You have my sympathy. Letzia, maybe not so much, but Detlinde, Georgine, and the Ob, yeah, you're gonna need every good luck you can get. The Ehrenfest party started toward the room to which they were directed, and a young voice greeted them upon their arrival. I am honored to have been graced with this opportunity to meet you. You are the representative, Lady Letzia, Sylvester asked. The plan had initially been for Georgine to come, but she had taken ill. Yeah, right! I don't believe that! So Letzia had been chosen as an urgent replacement. Ob Arensbach was of course still unwell, and Detlinde was absorbed in studying for her upcoming archducal duties. I am not yet attending the Royal Academy, but I will strive to fulfill my duties as a representative of Ob Arensbach, Letzia said, facing Sylvester and offering a proper greeting despite her youth. Ferdinand tapped a finger against his temple. It was almost certainly the truth that Ob Arensbach was unwell, and that Detlinde was frantically preparing for the countless duties she would need to accept. While succeeding certain aspects of the Archduke's position, he was more curious about Georgine's absence. The suggestion that she was ill seemed very dubious indeed. I agree. I completely agree on that one. I would much like to know what she is planning. Ferdinand was confident that everything related to the Bible incident could be traced back to Georgine. Perhaps there was still more to come. Wagons have been prepared as per your request, Ob Ehrenfest, Letzia said. We may begin moving the luggage at once. Now, where might Ehrenfest's wagons be? We did not bring any, Sylvester replied. We transported our luggage via high beast. Letzia looked confused, so the Ehrenfest party took her outside. Rosamund had already placed her high beast in the most convenient location for transferring luggage, and was now in the process of opening a door on its rear. Ob Ehrenfest, is that truly a high beast? Letzia asked. It is. Are drivable high beasts not yet found in Arensbach? I am aware of their existence, and a number of younger students at the Royal Academy use them, but this is my first time seeing one so large. I expect that Lady Rosamund is still the only person who can change the size of her high beast at will, Sylvester said with a restrained smile. Ha 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 ha! Suck on that, Detlinde. Ha ha! Letzia was visibly fascinated. It seemed that, unlike Detlinde, she was actually capable of listening to others. This realization put Ferdinand more at ease, since he had been entrusted with educating her. Well, that's at least a relief. You might actually make a good student out of her. Who knows? After listening to Sylvester, Letzia turned to her knights and those guarding the border gate, and said, Please assist Lord Ferdinand with his luggage. Those from Ehrenfest were so used to Rosamund's high beast that they barely reacted to its presence, and those from Arensbach were completely taken aback. Ferdinand almost found the situation comical as he watched them start moving his luggage, all the while remaining on guard against what appeared to them to be a fat grun. Rosamund was helping Justice to direct those moving the luggage, but the climate was cold enough that snow had started to fall. It was only light, but Rosamund would most likely collapse unless she went inside soon. Ferdinand could tell, using his intuition as her doctor. I shall oversee my luggage in Rosamund's place, he said to a nearby knight. Instruct her to enter the border gate. Yes, my lord. Rosamund received this message, then turned to look at Ferdinand. They looked at each other in the eye for the moment before she slowly made her way inside and said, Should you not be using this time to associate with Arensbach, I am more than capable of dealing with your luggage. Have you not noticed the snow? In this weather, even those who are healthy are at risk. I see no reason for you to chance it. Go inside already. But this is a rare opportunity for me to be helpful, Rosemine protested, disregarding the fact that Ferdinand was trying to be considerate. Ferdinand reached out and pinched Rosemine's cheek. It was much softer than expected and quite pleasant to the touch. He squeezed harder, practically massaging her face. It was her fault for having such beautiful cheeks. Poor Rosemine. Her cheeks just get abused, but with Ferdinand doing that to her and Sylvester poking them, jeez, that hurts. If you do not go inside, then Wolfrey cannot either, for you are of the same status. Lenore, Angelica, take her inside already. Brunhilde lays Leda prepare some hot tea to warm their bodies. Men, assist with the luggage. Ferdinand glanced toward his luggage, ignoring Rosemine as she pouted and massaged her cheeks. The pile had decreased steadily during the course of their pointless conversation, like the sand in an hourglass, indicating that his time in Ehrenfest was running out. Ferdinand, Sylvester said, then gritted his teeth and stared down at the floor. Ferdinand understood exactly what that small sequence meant, and cast his eyes down as well. It was how Sylvester acted whenever he was trying to squash down the feelings rising in his chest. Of course, even he can get emotional. Because, I mean, they're all human, they all get emotional, it's just they have to hide it. And that sucks. As stated previously, once you leave the duchy for this engagement, you will start being treated as an Erensbach citizen, just as Georgine wants. There are tears in your eyes, Sylvester. What kind of an ob cannot keep his feelings hidden? Dude, do you not... Sylvester, what do you expect, dude? Even he's gonna have cracks in that mask of his at some point. Or so Ferdinand wanted to say, but he could not get the words out for some reason. He felt a burning pain in his throat. Dude, even you're starting to get emotional. Good lord. And the most he could do was swallow. Sylvester's eyes suddenly turned fierce as he continued. Ferdinand, on that night I said all that I wanted to say. I don't know if you remember, but it's still true. Ferdinand thought back to the night in question when he had started share drinks with Sylvester and Karstedt for the very last time. Oh, come on. Oh, we get this little night, because apparently Rosemine obviously wasn't present for that. Because everything in these books, except for the side stories, and I think the epilogues, have been from her perspective. Everything else is from other people's perspective. I put up with him for long enough, Karstedt announced to Ferdinand, looking completely exhausted. I think it's time for that source of our problems to have a talk with him. Karstedt wasted no time in bringing Ferdinand to Sylvester's personal chambers. What's he talking about? Put up with him for long enough. Are you talking about Sylvester? Huh? Wait. It seemed that Sylvester had started drinking already, and with very little restraint as he was waiting in a drunken stupor. There you are, Ferdinand. Come, drink, Sylvester exclaimed, thrusting a wine-filled cup toward him, with such force that the liquid spilled out into his fingers. Dude, you're drunk. Go to bed. The dude needs to go to bed. He's already drunk here. He's going to pass out during this. I do not have long to prepare before I must leave, Ferdinand replied with a grimace. He thought Sylvester a troublesome drunk, and wanting nothing more than to escape having to deal with him. But Sylvester was having none of it. You have time to make a ridiculous charm for Rosemine, but not to drink with me? Ferdinand reluctantly accepted the wine, determining he had no other choice. He had some business with Sylvester, at least. He recalled a request that he wished to make regarding Rosemine. You know what, Sylvester slurred? You, Ferdinand, are cruel. I must say that took you far too long to notice. He noticed, you just never said anything. I never liked that part of you, Sylvester continued unfazed. I wanted to be an older brother you could rely on. He sounded eerily similar to Rosemine trying to support Charlotte. And when Ferdinand realizes, they aren't by blood, but they are father and daughter. They're like each other. He could not help but chuckle. Ah, but I am relying on you. Don't say stuff you don't mean. I see the drink has yet to dull all of your senses. I'm not being entirely dishonest, though. Ferdinand replied, slowly bringing his own cup to his lips. The aroma of wood from a ripe barrel reached his nose, then became even more fragrant with his first mouthful. At the same time, a dense, somewhat bitter grape flavor spread through his mouth and down his throat. Sylvester watched with a proud grin as Ferdinand took another sip. What do you think? Pretty good, huh? Indeed, this is my preferred flavor. I imagine it was quite difficult to obtain. Sylvester chuckled to himself, evidently pleased with that answer, and similarly drank from his cup. Meanwhile, Karstedt picked up his own cup with a wry smile, seeming more at ease now that Sylvester had calmed down. Once I am gone, the duty of protecting Rosemine will fall to you both, Ferdinand said, leisurely continuing to drink. I have given her all the charms I can, and I intend to bind her to Ehrenfest for giving by giving her my estate to use as a library. But even now, I cannot lower my guard with Wolfried as her fiancé. Sylvester's eyes widened. You're giving the estate Father gave you to Rosemine. I was planning to oversee it myself. I have no children, and she is my charge. Is it not proper that it should go to her? It is, but I never thought you'd give it to anyone. Yeah, I mean, because it came from his father. Of course, I would think as well that he wouldn't give it to anybody, considering how much he cares about his father, even though he doesn't really show it. Because we barely know anything about his father. But we do know that he had his utmost respect. Karsten seemed equally as stunned. Vernon exhaled, feeling somewhat uncomfortable. I, too, struggled with the idea of giving up the estate that Father gifted me. However, Rosemine will need some tangible attachment to Ehrenfest if she is to resist the sovereignty's temptations. Her engagement to Wilfrid will not be anywhere near enough. Vernon was well aware that Rosemine was more worried about him than any other noble, so, despite having had a considerable amount of time to think of ways to keep her chained to noble society, his efforts thus far had proven largely unsuccessful. We know her absurd origins, and that she cannot be expected to behave as a standard noble. Ferdinand continued. Okay, so the three of them do know. So Sylvester already knows, because I'm sure that Ferdinand reported this to him. And Karstead knows, because we obviously know he told him. Thus, as someone whom Rosemine considers family, I had no choice but to become these chains myself. It was to this end that I adopted the familiar role that she desires of me. Is that why you gave her the hairpin? Karstead asked with a sigh, seeming exasperated for some reason. It's become quite fashionable to give a hair ornament to one's escort partner during the graduation ceremony. If she looked her age, it might have come across as a proposal. What familiar role is he talking about? Is he talking about like a father-type figure, or is he thinking of something else? Because to be completely honest, you guys, if what I've heard is correct, I know who Rosemine actually ends up with in endgame-wise, like at the end of the series. And they're starting to hint at this. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out here. But she does not, and at least for now, I remain her guardian. I did not give her a necklace, so there is nothing to fret about. Ah! That is it! That is it! Jesus Christ, that is what he was referring to! Because when someone wants to propose to somebody, they would give the person they want to propose to not only the proposal face stone, but a proposal face stone they would make it into a necklace, and they would wear it. That is what he's talking about. Oh my god! Jesus, dude! What does Sylvester think about this? This is his daughter after all. Well, not really, but still. Not biologically, but still. Jesus Christ! He was actually thinking of this. But wait. Why is he actually thinking of this when he's supposed to be getting married? Okay. I don't know what his endgame is. I know what the canon endgame is. I just don't know what his master plan is here. When it comes to this. It would have been ideal for Wilfrid to make the charm as her fiancé, but I did not have the time to teach him the brewing or the magic circles required. Nor does he have the necessary mana or ingredients. That's too much, Sylvester cried despite himself, which is why I did not demand that Wilfrid make it. I also thought it unreasonable to ask either of you, since you are both so busy with our winter plans. If at some point my gift comes to be seen as a proposal face stone, then Wilfrid can simply replace it when he matures. And once he and Rosemine have graduated and gotten married, and we no longer need to worry about interference from the sovereignty, Rosemine can remove the charm entirely. Ferdinand waved away any further complaints, frustrated. As far as he was concerned, he had made the optimal decisions for protecting Rosemine. It's my fault that you couldn't resist all that pressure from the king and Aaron's box of us, and beginning his grumblings once again. He went on to scold Ferdinand for being so heartless as to decide on the matter alone, bemoaned the limitations placed on him as the Archduke, and then murmured about being an unreliable brother. I don't want you to leave, so don't. Someone said it. Someone finally said it. Don't leave. God dang it, Sylvester! Freaking making me emotional now! Again! Sorry, I actually did have something in my eye. But yeah, it wasn't helping either. All in all, Sylvester was being embarrassingly emotional, which don't really blame him. Ferdinand struggled to recall just how many times he had needed to endure this cycle over the past half year, and the realization that he was having to endure it again was towering beyond words. Again with you, and again with Rosamund, you are all so troublesome to deal with. Maybe you should just accept that people care about you, Karsa interjected. In fact, though you might not realize it, I think you already have. There is a very obvious smile on that sourpuss face of yours. The alcohol might be getting to you, dude, if it's making you show things that you would rather not show. Ferdinand attempted to grimace in response, but the truth was that everyone needing him so much did make him feel strangely warm inside. He wasn't particularly pleased about it, but perhaps Rosamund was correct in saying that he struggled to notice others showing him affection. Ehrenfest is your Geduld, Ferdinand, and don't you forget it, Sylvester declared. As your older brother, I refuse to accept anything else. Ferdinand did not offer a response. There was no need, as Sylvester had already fallen asleep. He passed out. Oh, and he remembers what happened, okay. I remember, Ferdinand said, and not just that night. He remembered Sylvester accepting him as his little brother on the first day they met. Right after his father had brought him home. He remembered him playing the part of a big brother, dragging Ferdinand around everywhere and trying to protect him from the sharp-eyed Veronica, even when the battle was unwinnable. Beyond that, Sylvester had agreed to adopt a commoner for the good of the duchy. He had also defied the ob of a top-ranking duchy during the Archduke Conference in an attempt to keep his younger brother from being moved to Arnsbach. He would have openly defied the king himself had Ferdinand not intervened. He would have. I think he would have. Both him and Rosamund. They would have gone against the king and saying, no, you're not taking Ferdinand from us. We can show our allegiance in a different way. Why did he suggest that, by the way? Surely they could have found another way to show their loyalty to the king and the sovereignty and all that without having to do that. Surely, right? I mean, heck, if they wanted to, if he wanted to keep Ferdinand in Ehrenfest and away from the royal family and all that, like he was wanting to with this whole thing, why didn't he just have Ferdinand marry Rosamund? And then they would have been able to keep him in Ehrenfest. He wouldn't have gone after the throne himself, and it would have worked out. He would have stayed in Ehrenfest. Why couldn't he have just done that? Whatever. There could have been another way, is all I'm saying. Now that their father, the previous Archduke, was gone, Sylvester was the only person Ferdinand could call family, and yet the moment Ferdinand departed for his new home, Sylvester would need to start treating him as a noble from Arnsbach and nothing more. Their usual pastimes were soon to be a thing of the past. No longer would Sylvester be able to clear his room and summon Ferdinand to come by Hybeast. No longer would they be able to discuss plans or have a few drinks and share in some meaningless conversation. Why am I feeling this sense of loss now? Has this not been clear from the very beginning? Something must be wrong with me. No, nothing's wrong with you, dude. You're just realizing that people actually care about you and they don't want to leave. Ferdinand put on a cynical smile, but Sylvester remained the picture of seriousness. In response, Ferdinand sighed, allowing his expression to stiffen as well. Focus not on Ehrenfest, but on finding happiness in Arnsbach, Sylvester said. That's the only thing I ask of you. It had been countless years since Ferdinand had thought about his own happiness, yet both Sylvester and Rosamund brought it up incessantly. How foolish. Ehrenfest is clearly more important than that. Not to them. Not to them. Hang on, guys. Sorry about this. I don't get how people who do audiobooks can do like sad scenes and not break down. Y'all's hearts must be stone. Or you must be like Ferdinand to be able to do the same thing he does where he can keep his emotions in check. Well, I certainly can't. I'm like Rosamund. I'm like Rosamund with that. Ferdinand was used to dismissing their fanciful ideas, but on this particular occasion he found that he was unable to give his usual response. He remained silent for some time, then finally said, I will not forget these words, brother. Having said farewell to Sylvester, Ferdinand made his way into the border gate where he found Rosamund speaking with Letzia. They were about the same height despite the latter having not yet entered the Royal Academy. Or is Rosamund ever so slightly taller? Huh. Rosamund had appeared to be the shorter of the two during Lamprett's starbind ceremony. Now that she was now a similar height to Lexia proved that she had finally started to grow, which is good. Ferdinand noticed a familiar-looking hairpin adorning Lexia's golden tresses. It was the one that Rosamund had prepared, urging that Ferdinand should give the young Arensbach girl a gift. But why would you give it to her yourself? I don't know, to make her, I guess, make sure that Lexia thinks of her in a favorable light, I guess? In case Linda's just a badmouther? I don't know. Ferdinand sighed as always. It was hard to tell whether Rosamund was being considerate or the complete opposite. As he got closer, he realized that the retainers around the two girls were desperately trying to keep themselves from laughing. What's so funny? A sudden change came over Wilfred when he saw Ferdinand. He desperately tried to alert Rosamund, but Ferdinand stopped him and stood behind Rosamund. Oh no! Oh no! She's gonna talk bad about him! Oh no! Or maybe compliment him, who knows? And then he's gonna hear it, he's gonna go, Rosamund, and start pinching her cheeks! He's gonna do that! Wilfred noticed this and he tried to stop it! To listen to her conversation, right. Ferdinand's kindness is very indirect and just as hard to understand. He is extremely harsh to the teacher, but that is because he's so passionate about seeing his students grow. Oh, she's hyping you up! That said, if you find that he's being too extreme, please contact me at once. I will send word for him to reflect on his actions and improve. Rosamund, what in the world are you saying? The moment Ferdinand spoke, Rosamund jumped into the air and almost out of her skin. I was just offering a few warnings so that you aren't misunderstood, she said with a quivering smile, attempting to justify herself. I have said nothing insulting. Isn't that right, Lady Lexia? Yes, that's right, Lexia replied, though it was clear from the look on her face that she did not want to join the fray. Meanwhile, Rosamund was wearing the same guilty expression that she always wore when caught doing something very unnecessary. Everyone can tell you are forcing that smile, fool. Well, dude, don't you think that maybe Sylvester and the others could tell that you were forcing that fake smile of yours when you were around Detlinde? Maybe not everybody, but I know that those close to you could tell. I tell Ferdinand and her to pinch Rosamund's cheeks and pressure her into revealing what she actually said. I knew it! Knew it! And pressure her into revealing what she had actually said, so as he normally would in such a situation, but there were too many Arensbach eyes watching them. Lady Lexia, you would do well to not take Rosamund's words seriously, Ferdinand said. And as for you, Rosamund, it seems that my luggage has all been moved. In an instant, Rosamund reached out and grabbed his sleeve. He could see the same hopeless worry in her golden eyes he had seen in Sylvester's. I will send letters through Raymond, Ferdinand said, detaching Rosamund's hand from his clothes. And fear not, I will keep my promise. You too should continue to be careful. Rosamund nodded and took a step back toward Wilfrid. He was similar to his father in many ways, and while he was bound to get exasperated or play around with Rosamund at times, Ferdinand could count on him to protect her. We'll see about that. To be honest, I don't know too much about that, but considering what we know about Wilfrid and how he's kind of oblivious and stuff, I don't know. I think somebody would have to outright insult Rosamund for him to get pissed off. Because any kind of, subtle insults will go over his head. Maybe. Unless they start teaching him about that stuff. They need to teach him about all the subtle insults and noble euphemisms and stuff. They do need to. Badly. Wilfrid, I leave the rest to you. Yes, Uncle, be safe. Content that there was nothing more to be said, Ferdinand passed through the border gate without looking back and climbed into an Arensbach carriage. Eckert was seated to his side while Lexia and a guard took the seat opposite him. As the carriage began to advance at a leisurely speed, Ferdinand turned his attention out the window. Soon enough, a flock of hybees took to the sky on the Ehrenfest side of the gate. Even from a distance, Ferdinand could recognize Rosamund's pandabus, and the fact that he was not with her and the others made him feel exceedingly strange. And here we go. Lord Ferdinand, what manner of person is Lady Rosamund? Came Lexia's timid voice. She had seemingly been racking her brain for something to talk about, and this was all that had come to mind. It was possible that she was not on good terms with Detlinde. Ferdinand made sure to remember that as he returned his attention to the inside of the carriage. How did she appear to you? You first met during the starbinding ceremony held at the border gate, but this was your first time speaking to her, no? She is a saint of Ehrenfest and a highly skilled Archduke candidate who has come first in class 2 years in a row at the Royal Academy. I am told that you educated her, Lord Ferdinand. I thought she was quite beautiful when she was performing the starbinding ceremony as the High Bishop, but as we spoke today, I realized that she was much kinder and more sociable than I expected. It was also clear just how worried she is about you. Aww! Let's see, you two, come on, tell him, girl. Even Lexia could tell this. Well, then again, according to what Ferdinand has said, she kind of wears her heart on her sleeves and is still having a hard time keeping her emotions and how she feels in check. So, yeah. Hold on. Phone. Oh, that's not that. Okay. I thought for a second I was getting a text message and I was going to check it, but no, it's something else. Being the fool that she was, Rosemind had given Lexia a variable list of warnings and instructions despite them never having spoken before. And as if she hadn't been transparent enough, she had outright asked Lexia to look after Ferdinand for me on more than one occasion. Not to mention, Lady Rosemind said this hairpin was a gift from you, but she prepared it herself, didn't she? Lexia asked, her smile reaching her blue eyes as she touched the hair ornament in question. Its flowers were the divine color of winter so that they could be used during the upcoming socializing season, and they stood out nicely against her golden hair. Rosemind does have a tendency to say things that are best left unsaid, and do things that are entirely unnecessary. Ferdinand felt he could only describe as a mixture of embarrassment and awkwardness. He was overcome with the urge to deny Lexia's words, but she seemed so much more at ease while talking about Rosemind. I am her guardian and essentially family to her, Ferdinand eventually replied, so while I understand that she is more worried for my sake, her excessive concern has started to become somewhat troublesome. Lexia giggled as she remembered Rosemind's many warnings, but her smile was soon tinged with sadness. Like family? I am a little jealous, she mumbled. Ferdinand recalled that Lexia was barely connected to her family. Both her parents were from Jawanka, but she had been relocated to Ahrensbach at a young age after being adopted by her grandfather. Her grandmother turned adoptive mother had passed away, and now her adoptive father was on the verge of ascending to the distant heights as well. Her only remaining family was Georgine Detlinde, her soon-to-be adoptive mother, and now Ferdinand, her soon-to-be adoptive father. It was easy to see why she and the others were so unsettled. I understand that you are in a very unfortunate situation, Lady Lexia. You may not be able to trust me, but perhaps you can trust a royal decree. I will educate you and make you a proper Ob once you come of age. Such is the duty given to me by the king and Ob Ahrensbach. This proclamation elicited confused stares from both Lexia and the guard knight beside her. Your duty, Lexia asked, but what will you do if Lady Detlinde decides she doesn't want to give up being in the Ob? We would need only speak to the king. An Ob who defies a royal decree is destined to be eliminated by the sovereignty. Yeah, going against the king is not a smart move. I think Workstock and the others could attest to that one. Had going against the king's orders been so simple, then Ferdinand would not have been in his current predicament. No matter how reluctant Detlinde might be to surrender the archducal seat, there was little she could do with the royal decree hanging over her head. You appear to be pulling a face, Ferdinand said. I am just a little surprised. Lady Detlinde described you as the kind of man who strives to do everything in his power to grant his wife's desires. Huh? Oh, frickin' narcissistic bitch. Ferdinand put on this public-facing smile. He certainly had given off that impression, and it wasn't necessarily untrue, considering the room for interpretation that strives and in his power provided. If one were to weigh the desires of one's wife against the king's decree, it should be obvious which would come out on top. The king's decree. Unless it depends on the wife and what the desires are. If it's someone he truly loved, and her desire was something that he could give her, then I'm sure he would do it. But if it's something like the situation he's in now, I would go with the king. I'd go with the king all the way in this one. If I had to choose between going against the king and giving Detlinde what she wants. Or giving Detlinde what she wants, or doing what the king says. I should say. I think that's what I mean. I don't know anymore. I see, Letsia replied. She cast her eyes out the window, looking toward Ehrenfest, and gave a smile tinged with relief. I was eager to learn more about the man due to become my adoptive father, but my efforts saw limited success. Although I learned much about your grades at the Royal Academy, no one had anything to say about your personality. But if you truly do value the King's order and command enough respect that those who know you are so reluctant to see you go, then I am willing to trust Lady Rosemine's words. You would do well not to trust them too much. Ferdinand swallowed the response he had wanted to give. Letsia was being friendly enough there was no reason for him to ruin the mood unnecessarily. Earning her trust and the trust of those around her was crucial for him to live more comfortably in Ahrensbach, and as he began to wonder how he could achieve this, the suggestion that Rosamund had given him suddenly came to mind. No, wait, there was something else. On an emotional level, Ferdinand dreaded the thought of actually carrying out Rosamund's idea, but at the same time, he could not deny that it had made some sense. He had nothing to gain from wasting all this traveling time, and after they arrived, there was no knowing when they would next have a chance to converse. And so Ferdinand started telling Letsia about his planned schedule for her education. It was something that he would have needed to explain to her eventually anyway. He also arranged for them to share a meal when they arrived at their lodgings where they could discuss the matter with Letsia's head attendant. Ferdinand spent the remainder of the carriage ride trying to think of other ways to earn a parent's trust, but his efforts bore no fruit. Although he had spent a lifetime trying to avoid conflict, he had never proactively attempted to make allies, so he was ultimately limited to Rosemine's suggestions. Perhaps you could play the Harpspiel as Milady advised, Justice noted, holding back the urge to laugh while simultaneously electing not to put forward any alternatives. Eckert nodded in agreement, saying that he looked forward to hearing Ferdinand play. At this rate, I'm gonna end up playing the Harpspiel as she suggested. Yes, do it. Do it, dude! They need it! They need to hear your voice! You get some people on your side who would do it, who would help you just to hear you play. I love that. I can't wait to see it animated. I want it animated so badly. After several days, Ferdinand arrived at the Ahrensbach nobles' quarters no closer to finding an alternative to Rosemine's suggestion. Winter socializing was soon to begin, but the climate was so much warmer than in Ehrenfest that it still felt like the height of autumn. Welcome, Lord Ferdinand. Upon his arrival at the castle, Ferdinand was greeted by his fiancée Detlinde. He found it repulsive enough that she looked so similar to Veronica. But her stay in Ehrenfest had confirmed that she was also thoughtless and self-centered. Keeping her under control was essential to keeping Sylvester, his duchy, and its inhabitants safe, but there was also the matter of dealing with Georgine. Oh. I ask of you, brought to me by the goddess of time, protect Sylvester and protect Ehrenfest. All of a sudden, Ferdinand recalled the last words his father had said to him. He remembered the manner that had enveloped him vanishing when he had agreed, and the small mass that had returned to his hand. He remembered the infirm fingers that had held onto his own, and his golden eyes had tried so desperately to focus on him. I will do as you ask and offer up my protection, Ferdinand declared. It was a promise to his late father, but Detlinde smiled and reached out a hand to him. I'm glad to hear that you understand your place. Ugh, I hate her! Frickin' narcissistic little girl. Then again, it's probably from her mother, too. Frickin' mother's probably a narcissist, too. But yeah, I actually thought that this was a missing side story for some strange reason. But this is apparently like a headliner for the collection of side stories. Essentially, the beginning of A Winter Apart, essentially, is what it's supposed to be. A collection of side stories. I want to continue so bad. But I can't. I'll see you guys in the next video.